Hey y'all, hey, welcome to Experience Over Hype. I am exhausted today, y'all, but we're going to get through this episode today, okay? I am Sin, and if you know me online, you probably already know me as Sin No UGC, Cynthia Sin City, those things. For 18 years, I ran a brick-and-mortar bakery. Real customers, real overhead, real damn responsibility, okay? Then I stepped into the digital space, and I rebuilt my income through UGC, TikTok shop, and content monetization full time. First full year, y'all. First full year, okay? This podcast isn't about trends. It's not about hacks. It's not even about overnight success story, okay? It is about experience, transferable skills, and building an income in a way that actually lasts, okay? Can we just talk about an income that actually lasts, okay? If you're reinventing yourself, you're starting a new chapter, or you're trying to figure out how to monetize what you already know, then baby, you are in the right place, okay? So let's get into today's episode, y'all. Let's talk about why people actually hate consistency. And I want to say this first because it matters, okay? People don't hate consistency because they're lazy. They hate consistency because it doesn't give immediate emotional feedback. That's all it is. And we live in a world where everything else does. Like the damn comments, your likes, your views, your sales notification, your messaging, all the damn things. Okay? We've been trained to expect something back the right way. Right away. Okay? So when consistency doesn't give that, it starts to feel pointless. Like, what the hell am I doing this shit for? And that's usually where people, they stop and they give up. They like, cause this shit don't work. Here's the part that nobody really says out loud. Consistency feels uncomfortable because you're doing work without the damn proof. And that's why your ass keep giving up. You're showing up before anyone claps. You're posting before anyone validates it. You're committing before the outcome is even visible. And that messes with people's heads. Rightfully so, okay? Because now you're left alone with your own thoughts like, is this shit even working? Am I wasting my goddamn time? Shouldn't I be further along by now? You know what I mean? That internal conversation is exhausting and it can fuck with your mental. It really can. But another reason people hate consistency is because it's repetitive. And repetition doesn't feel exciting, especially when you don't see the results. It's boring. It's predictable. It's unsexy because you're doing the same shit over and over and over again. Okay. There's no adrenaline rush, doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's no dopamine hit saying, okay, let me show up again today, even though nothing magical happened yesterday. But let me say this to y'all clearly. Okay. Repetition is not punishment. Repetition is training. And most people, they don't even realize that. This is where literally my bakery background, it comes in, okay? Because in a bakery, consistency, it wasn't optional. We made the same damn products every fucking day with the same standards day after day. There was no room for, I don't feel like it today. I had to show up and do this shit whether I felt like it or not. People didn't care how creative I felt. They cared that the cupcake tasted the same damn way every goddamn time. And I didn't wake up excited every morning. I woke up responsible. That's a different type of energy right there, in itself. Online, people, they want excitement. They want to be able to feel the excitement through the screen. They want every post to feel new, every video to feel inspired, every video to feel different. But business, it don't work like that, okay? Business works because reliability, not novelty. And consistency is how reliability is actually built, okay? Another reason people hate consistency is because they're comparing their process of their beginning to the results of somebody else's middle. Okay. I see that shit over and over again. They're posting their third video while watching somebody else's highlight reel. You're not where they are. And that comparison makes consistency literally feels pointless because it feels like, why am I doing all this when they're already there? But here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. You're not behind. You're just early. I was there too. We all go through it. Okay. Early feels quiet. I get it. Consistency also forces you to face yourself. When you show up once or twice, you can blame luck. But when you show up for a while and you start seeing patterns, and patterns, they don't lie. They show you what to avoid, where you hesitate at, what your ass is overthinking, and where your ass lacks structure. Consistency, it removes excuses, okay? And that's uncomfortable in itself. That right there is uncomfortable in itself. But another thing, people don't think consistency should feel motivating. But motivation is emotional. That's a feeling. Consistency is operational. Motivation comes and it goes. Consistency is a decision you make before you actually feel ready. In the bakery, I didn't ask, do I feel motivated today? Because a lot of days I did not. I asked, what needs to be done today so I can go the fuck home? And that mindset is what most people is missing online. Okay, but here's a big one for y'all. People hate consistency because they expect it to reward them like fast. And that's not how this shit works. But consistency, it doesn't reward speed. It rewards duration. It rewards the person who stays long enough to actually see the skills sharpen, confidence to settle, and clarity to show up even when you don't feel like it. Most people quit right before they get to that damn point. You know what I mean? Consistency also, it exposes impatience, because patience play a big part. Because when nothing happens right away, people assume nothing will never happen. But silence, it doesn't mean failure. Silence usually means the system is warming up, the audience is observing, because even though they're not liking and sharing, their ass is watching. Okay, the data is forming. Consistency is where trust is built, not just with an audience, but with your damn self. Okay. But let me say this clearly, because I know somebody else needs to hear this. Okay. If consistency feels boring, that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it long enough. That boredom is the signal that you're past the novelty phase and into the building phase. Okay. That's where the money live at. That's where the money resides. Okay. Most people, they want excitement. Builders, they want results. Consistency, that's what's going to separate your ass from the other one. Okay. That's what's going to separate you. Okay. Stick with it long enough so you can see the results. If you quit, you'll never know. Okay. So when you find yourself saying, this is boring, that is not a sign to stop. Okay. That's a sign to keep going. That's usually the sign that something is finally starting to compound. Okay. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. So don't stop. When this thing like it's getting hard, that's when shit is about to start speeding up. Okay. Let's talk about motivation, because motivation is one of the biggest lies people are taught when it comes to consistency. We've been told that if we just feel motivated enough, then we'll show up consistently. That's bullshit. And that is backwards. Okay. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they are waiting on it. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are inconsistent all the damn time. Okay. Your emotion, they're going to change with your sleep, your stress, the feedback, the comparison, your damn mood. It's going to change with all those things. Okay. So if your plan depends on motivation, your plan ain't stable. Okay, here's the truth that doesn't get said a day enough. Motivation is not a strategy. It is a reaction. You feel motivated after something works, not before. Okay, but most people are waiting to feel motivated before they actually commit. That gap is where your momentum, that gap right there is where your ass gonna quit. Okay, because that's where the momentum gonna die. In the bakery, motivation, it didn't matter. I didn't wake up and ask myself, do I feel inspired today? I asked what needs to be done, because the customers was coming whether I felt like it or not. And a lot of days I didn't even feel like it. The responsibility, it created consistency, not motivation. Online, people want content creation to feel good first. You know what I mean? They want excitement. They want validation. They want reassurance. They want a quick feedback. But building anything sustainable doesn't feel exciting every single day. So that goes in with, you got to show up whether the hell you feel like it or not. Okay. Sometimes it feels neutral. Sometimes it feels boring. Sometimes that shit heavy as hell. And that doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you're doing work that actually matters. Okay. Another reason motivation fails people, because motivation is reactive. It really is. It shows up when a video does well, someone compliments you, money is coming in. Oh, your ass is really motivated then because you start seeing them damn dollar signs. Your numbers go up, your views going up. Oh, you motivated even more now. But when those things slow down, your motivation start disappearing because you're not getting that dopamine hit. And then consistency, that's going to disappear with it. That's why so many people keep getting stuck in those damn cycles. They show up when they're encouraged, but they disappear when shit gets quiet. That's when you need to stay consistent. Consistency requires something different. Consistency is a decision made ahead of your emotion. It's saying, I'm going to show up even when today feels average. I'm going to show up when I'm not even making no money. That's the part most people, they don't practice. But let me say this to y'all clearly, okay? You don't need to feel motivated to be consistent. You just need structure. That's it. You need commitments that don't change with your mood. That's how real businesses operate. And doing content, well, if you want to believe it or not, it is a real business. Motivation is great when it shows up, but it can't be in charge because motivation is unreliable. And when motivation is running the show, progress, it is unpredictable. Okay? But here's another hard truth for y'all. If you only show up when you feel motivated, you're training your brain to quit when it feels uncomfortable. That's exactly what you're doing. You're reinforcing inconsistency because you're not seeing those results every single day. But when you show up without motivation, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is everything when you're building long-term income. I want to say something that might feel a little uncomfortable, but your ass is going to hear it anyway, okay? In the bakery, I didn't feel motivated most days. I felt responsible. And responsibility creates a different kind of discipline. Okay, bills still had to get paid. There's no force, not pressure. Just follow through, getting shit done. That same mindset applies to online when you're doing content. Posting consistently isn't about hype. It's about commitment. And commitment, it doesn't need to feel excitement. It doesn't need to feel exciting, I should say. It just needs to be honored. So here's the shift that I want y'all to take with you, okay? Stop asking, do I feel motivated? And start asking, what did I commit to? And you hold yourself accountable for that. That question right there is literally going to change everything for you. Because you're going to get tired of keep stopping and starting over. So if you've been waiting to feel motivated, be for actually showing up, that might be the very thing that's slowing you down. Okay? So consistency, this is what it actually builds. Because once you understand it, showing up is going to feel completely different to you once you actually understand what consistency is. So here's what I want to shift for you, because most people, they misunderstand consistency, okay? They think consistency is about output, but it's not just that. It's not posting more, doing more, or showing up more, okay? But consistency isn't really about the output. Consistency is about what it builds underneath the damn surface. And that's why people underestimate it. The first thing consistency builds is your skill. Because that's how you learn the skill, from repetition. Not talent, skill. When you show up repeatedly, you get better at those things. You get better at communicating, explaining. Your thoughts get better. Reading responses get better. You're noticing what lands and what don't. You're noticing what work and what don't. That improvement, it doesn't come from just thinking, okay? It comes from repetition because you're doing the same thing over and over again. And most people quit before skill has time to actually develop. Consistency also builds confidence, but not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind where you don't need permission any damn more, okay? You stop asking other people, is this okay? Am I doing this right? Should I be posting this? You post the shit anyway, regardless of what they think. You start trusting your judgment and not other people's. That confidence only comes from showing up enough times to see yourself handle it. Okay. Another thing consistency builds, it builds your data. That part is actually huge. Okay. When you show up inconsistently, everything is going to feel random because you don't have structure. You don't know what worked. You don't know why it worked. You don't know what to repeat. You don't know what not to repeat. Okay. You don't even know what to drop or what to keep. Consistency gives you patterns. Okay. And those patterns, it gives you clarity. That's when strategy becomes possible. It's repetition. That's all it is. Consistency also builds emotional regulation. This is the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Okay. When you show up, even when your damn numbers are low, when nobody is liking your shit, when your feedback is quiet, when the progress feels slow, you stop letting your emotions run the business. You learn how to separate how I feel today from what I committed to. That emotional stability is what's going to allow you to grow. Consistency also builds trust with yourself, and not just with an audience. You know what I mean? Every time you show up when you said you would, you reinforce that belief with yourself that you can follow through and you can really do this shit. That self-trust, it carries into your pricing. It's going to carry into your decision-making, your confidence in your offers, your long-term vision for you doing content and UGC and TikTok shop or whatever it is you want to do. You're not going to second-guess yourself as much. Another thing consistency builds is going to build momentum. Not the flashy kind, goddammit, the quiet kind. Momentum, it doesn't feel like excitement. It feels like, this is just what I do now. This is literally just what I do now. And that's when building stops feeling heavy, because this is just what you do now. In the bakery, consistency meant customers trusted us. The staff knew the standard. The business felt stable. Online is the same damn thing, y'all. People trust what feels reliable. Consistency makes you reliable. Even before you're loud. Even before you loud. But here's another part that people, they miss. Consistency, it builds identity. You stop being someone who's trying. You become someone who actually does and know what the hell they talking about, okay? That identity shift is going to change how you move. You stop debating with yourself because now you know your shit. You stop restarting every few weeks. You stop needing permission to show up because, again, you know what the fuck you're doing. And once consistency builds all of that, skill, confidence, data, trust, momentum, and identity, results have something to sit on. Without that foundation, results, this shit ain't gonna stick. So if consistency feels boring, it's supposed to. God damn it. That's because it's doing work you can't see yet. That's why it feels boring. And invisible work is usually, that's the most valuable right there. Consistency, it isn't exciting. It's not, because you're doing the same shit every single day. But it is powerful. Okay? Boring work is actually where the goddamn money is at. Here's something I learned, a long time ago. Way before the damn internet. What was that? 2009? Money, it doesn't hide in excitement. It hides in reliability. You being reliable. Almost always looks boring when you're being reliable with something. People assume money lives in flashy moments. The viral video, the big launch, the sudden spike in your views. But those moments, they unpredictable because you can't control the algorithm. You can't. What actually creates income is what happens between those moments. The boring shit. The repeatable shit. The things that nobody screenshot. It be the videos that you think is the worst. They be the ones that carry you, okay? In the bakery, money wasn't made on our most creative day. It was made when we put out some bullshit. It was the days that we days that we actually opened on time. The days we followed the same process. The days we showed up even when it felt routine. Customers, they didn't pay for novelty. They paid for consistency. Again, online, it is the same thing. Creators who make money long term aren't always the most exciting, but they're the most dependable because they show up even when it's quiet. They repeat the same shit over and over and over again. They don't chase every new thing. Look at Chipotle. They serve the same bowls. As much as we want shrimp, though, it's not exciting, but it's profitable. But this is why boring works. Boring works because systems form. Habits lock in. Trust start compounding. You know what I mean? Because you know when you show up, you're going to get the same thing. Decision fatigue, it actually disappears. When something becomes boring, it becomes automatic because you're used to it now. But automatic is scalable. Most people quit boring work way too early. They say to themselves, this isn't fun anymore. I'm not excited. I need something new. But what they really need is to stay long enough for boring to turn into your baseline. That's where the damn money shows up. Let me say this to y'all plainly, okay? Plain English. Flashy work gets attention. Boring work gets paid. And attention doesn't always convert to income. But consistency almost always do. This is why hype burns people out because they keep chasing the trends. Hype requires constant energy, constant creativity, constant emotion because you're trying to keep up. Experience builds systems that don't depend on mood. That's the difference. When you look at people who've been around for a long time in any damn industry, they is not chasing excitement. Okay? They're refining what already works. That refinement, a lot of times, though, it don't look exciting. But you better goddamn believe that it pays very damn well, okay? So if your work feels boring right now, that is not a sign to pivot. Sometimes it ain't. That's usually a sign that you finally doing something repeatable. And repeatable is where the money is at. Okay? So think about that the next time that you feel like, is boring. So instead of asking, why does this feel boring? Try asking, am I finally building something that is stable? Because stability is expensive. Okay? It's very expensive. Whoosh, child. That was a lot today. That was a lot today. So let's shift how we think about consistency, okay? Because once you see it differently, showing up stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like alignment. Most people think consistency is about discipline. It's about forcing yourself, about pushing through, about willpower. But that shit is not sustainable. Okay? Consistency is not about forcing it. You shouldn't have to force it. It's about agreement. Agreement with the version of yourself that you're actually becoming. Okay? Consistency is a commitment you make before the mood actually shows up. Not because you feel inspired, but because you decided that this shit, it actually matters. That's very different energy right there. But another way to think about consistency is you collecting data. Every time you show up, you're just gathering information. What lands, what doesn't, what feels natural, what feels forced. Okay, because without consistency, everything feels confusing. It really does. With consistency, clarity, you start to get some clarity on what's working and what's not. Consistency is also an act of self-trust. Each time you follow through, you tell yourself, I do what I say that I'm going to do. That builds your confidence, okay? That confidence is going to show up everywhere else. Every damn else, okay? So here's another thing that I want y'all to take from this. Consistency isn't something that you do to yourself. It's something you do for yourself, okay? It removes decision fatigue. It creates stability. It gives your future self a foundation. But you want to know another thing that consistency actually does? It removes the damn drama. When something is consistent, it stops being emotional. It literally becomes your damn routine. And that routine in itself is powerful. Routine is where your growth actually becomes manageable. You know what I mean? In the bakery, consistency meant less chaos. It was clear expectations. A lot of days I had smoother days. Again, online is the same damn thing. Consistency, it creates calm, and calm creates the capacity. Instead of asking yourself, how long do I have to do this? Try asking yourself, how can I make this shit sustainable? That question right there is going to help you change a lot of things, okay? Because consistency is not about trying to be perfect. It's about being present enough times for progress to actually show up. That's all it is. And once you stop fighting consistency and start working with it, and showing up starts feeling less heavy and a lot more powerful. Okay? Whew, child, I gave y'all a word today. That was a word today. That was a word today, y'all. Whew, child. So, what's today? Wednesday? It is Wednesday. So yeah, y'all, this episode resonated with y'all. It tells me something that you're not just consuming content. You're actually thinking. You're using your brain. Everything I share here comes from my lived experience, okay? Both offline and online. And my goal is to help y'all shorten your learning curve without chasing the damn hype. Experience over hype, okay? If y'all want deeper support structure or community while you're actually building, I always leave all of the resources down inside of my show notes, okay? You can get all the deets there. But most importantly, keep showing up, y'all. Keep applying and definitely keep trusting. Trust with compounds, okay? Make sure that you guys have subscribed to Experience Over Hype, and I'll meet y'all in the next episode. Talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. Bye.